So guys, I am officially getting married in like 3 days. Today is Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I'll be getting married in 3 days at noon. And I want to put all this stuff to rest. Y'all, if you want to do a wedding, it ain't cheap. Don't let nobody tell you that. They're lying. Even if you're doing just an elopement, but you want some type of celebration to go with it, it ain't gonna be cheap. And when I say cheap, I'm talking about under $1,000, right? Under $1,000, you're not gonna get that done. Sorry, get that out your mind. But to me, one of the biggest things I didn't know about the wedding industry is the overpricing of the wedding industry. Just because you say wedding. So just FYI, we reached out to a DJ in New Orleans. I'm not going to say anybody's name. And asked for a price for an engagement party. That price was $850. Mind you, that was already too expensive for me for 3 hours. But then we said about a price for a wedding, and it was $1,350. That's $500 more. It was 3 hours. So the fact that you even say wedding and that people increase their price, you're doing the exact same thing. One, that should be banned. I feel like Congress should come up with some type of law about how that's wrong. I feel like it's consumer issue. That's a consumer law issue. Yes, I'm an attorney, but I do feel like that low-key isn't a consumer law issue, and I think it's unfair. But so that's one thing. They gonna hike up the price. You said wedding, they be like, let's add a zero. Right there. That's the issue. And you want a DJ. You want somebody to play music. You want something. So those type of things gonna make the wedding expensive. The necessities is gonna make the wedding expensive. And like I said, a wedding. I'm not saying you can't get married, you can't have a ceremony, an elopement without a celebration. You can do that on $1,000 easy. Go to courthouse, boom, you done. But as far as having a ceremony or a celebration, it's high. It's high. Don't let them lie to you, girl. So I'm gonna give y'all a rundown of what I did for myself, because that's what I wanted. But it was expensive, and I don't have the final numbers, but it's over what I said I was gonna do. I know that. Those numbers already came in. So bear with me. So in 3 days, I will be getting married. We're actually leaving today. We live in Northwest Arkansas. We live in Bentonville. And we moved to Bentonville March of last year, 2024. So we're getting married August 2025. I decided that we should have our wedding. We've been engaged for a little while, and I wanted to have a wedding before the end of the summer. One, it was a convenience thing for us. My son is in school. We don't have any family up here. He can't take out of school during the year. So I'm like, let's get married before the end of the summer. We also had a trip that we wanted to plan before the end of the summer. So it was like, boom, let's make it a honeymoon. Boom. So I decided that about 89 days ago. Like, I think I started planning 85 days before the wedding. Like, decided I was getting married in New Orleans, where we're both from. So yeah, I decided to plan a wedding in less than 90 days from New Orleans, from Bentonville, from Northwest Arkansas for New Orleans. So in a different state, 9.5 hours away. Wasn't easy. But one thing I'm organized in a sense to where I'm regimented. I'm very type A. Y'all should have saw my Disney itinerary. I was not playing. I was like, we're going to be at this ride at this time. We're going to get all these things done. That's how I like to plan. And I know I'm not, certain people can't deal with people like that. I get it. I'm not for everybody. But with the wedding, it worked out because I was able to get the things I wanted to get done in this short amount of time. So I had a vision that I wanted to, hopefully it works out because I don't get married till Saturday. But I was willing to do these things and make the wedding the way I wanted it to look. Y'all, I'm still at work. It is 9:54 on Wednesday. We leave today at 5 o'clock. I'm working because I don't play. So I will still be working until probably about 2 o'clock, and I go pick up my son. I drop off my dog. Then I head to my fiance's job where we'll pick him up, and we head on out to New Orleans, drive 9.5 hours. Pray for us. Hope we get there safely. But I always say I'm not really a creative. I never was good at drawing. My sister and my dad could draw really well. Like, they were great artists. My dad was a great artist. I did not pick up that skill. So I always felt like I really wasn't creative in that sense, like design things or make things look pretty. But when it came down to it, like, I've been in like Mardi Gras cruise, and I had to make like throws and stuff. They looked all right, so I would be like, okay, I could do it a little bit. I could be a little crafty. I could make things look pretty. But I was concerned about my wedding because I'm like, it needs to look really pretty. Like, so it's a different type of pretty. But, I had a vision and that I wanted, and I was like, I'm gonna make it happen. I'm TikToking, I'm gonna YouTube it, I'm gonna Instagram it, I'm gonna Pinterest it. I'm gonna figure out how to get things that I wanted to look. So I did. I do have a friend out here that's a wedding planner. I had a budget of $10,000. And I just knew I could not afford for her, she does beautiful work. I couldn't afford for her to come to New Orleans to do our wedding planning. So it just wasn't something that was in the cards for me. And I knew I couldn't really afford a wedding planner anyway. Because another thing, $10,000 is the minimum. I said, I only have 30 people coming. I'm only inviting 30 people, y'all. I'll tell y'all the story about that too. Why I gotta pay $10,000? That's how much I want to pay for the whole wedding. Then the day of coordinator I reached out to was $1,800. I'm like, that's not bad. But considering they're only doing day of work, setting up, maybe finalizing vendors, stuff like that, that wasn't in the cards either. But the venue I had selected actually it had a day of coordinator service for $600. So I did go with that. And that has been helpful. He's going to set up everything, but he doesn't do the designing. He doesn't really do, he gets his input, but he doesn't like design or plan it. I have planned it, okay, with the help of my sister, my nanny. They have been great helps, because other than that, I would not, it'd be a no-go for me. Yeah, so again, like I said, I am working right now. I have a full-time job. I'm also a mother. Me and my fiance, we live together. We have a household that we have to run. And actually my stepson was up here for the summer, and he just left on Sunday because he has to go back early for school. So it has been a hectic kind of planning period, because we have all these things we are trying to do here, and my son's in multiple sports and multiple activities. He goes to something 4 days a week, Monday through Thursday after school, after camp. So it has been a rough summer. But it's the final countdown, and we're trying to pull it off, and hopefully everything works out smoothly. Not hopefully, it's gonna work out smoothly. But back to what I was saying about DIYing and the expense of a wedding in general. So I decided to do artificial flowers because I wanted large centerpieces. I wanted eye runners. Mind you, like I said, it's only 30 people gonna be at my wedding. And how that's gonna work, I'm just inviting my immediate family, a few close friends, and the wedding is a surprise to the rest of my family. So my dad was one of 9, my mother's like one of 6. I have counted it. I have 39 first cousins. I also am close to my dad's first cousins and their kids, which is like 10 of them. So I have a big family. Just my dad's side of the family, we had a family reunion for just his 9 siblings and their kids. It was over 100 people. So I chose not to do a big wedding where I invited the entire family because of the sheer expense of just feeding them. Like, just making sure people have food, And also, I'm from New Orleans, so we ain't doing no dry wedding. That ain't happening. I get people to do dry weddings. There are people in New Orleans who do dry wedding. It just wasn't for me. So, but the sheer expense of feeding them was just not within the budget. But I absolutely love my family. Like, we are a close knit family. Like, we have a prayer call on Tuesdays. We have a cousin group chat. And a lot of people do not have that. My fiance does not have that. He's the only child, and his mom has several siblings, like 8 of them, and they're just not close. Like, he's not close to most of his cousins, a few of them. And so if we did have a big wedding, it would be like 200 people on my side and 15 on his. And it just didn't make sense. It just, what it was. So we decided to do a small wedding, but we're going to do, now my computer not working. Oh, okay. We are going to do an after party, which we have told everyone is an engagement party. So my other friends, co-workers, former co-workers, just, friends, I told them and invited them to an engagement party, which is going to be on the same day as the wedding, but at night. It's it's from 7 to 10. The wedding's from noon to 4. But they will, when we get there, they'll be like, surprise, we eloped. And that's the plan of how we're going to work. Unfortunately, I think the cat's out of the bag on my mom's side a couple times. I keep trying to push it back in the bag because my mom kind of accidentally keeps saying it's a reception. So people are like, oh, they get married. But it is what it is. I ain't tripping about it. It is very much it is what it is type of situation for me. So, I do want the surprise. It is important that my friends that don't know I'm getting married are surprised, I think. Because it's just a nice little thing to do. But anyway, I think, I think that will all work out. In the end, we'll get it all, together. So I have a couple points I want to make about just in general planning the wedding. You can't let it stress you. That's one thing. I mean, like I said, I did mine in less than 90 days. You just can't let it be stressful to you. You just, I think if I would have hired a wedding coordinator, a wedding planner, it would have just not been worth my money because I am type A. I want my things the way I want it. It would have been harder for me to just give input and move forward like that. I would have just I'm too controlling when it comes to something I want, I envision. So I don't think it would have been really worth my money because I'd have did all the stuff anyway. So the day coordinator is fine for me. Another point that I want to make is that, it's your wedding. So if you want to look nice and you want certain things at your wedding, that may work for them. And I think that is beautiful for certain people. And for me, it just wasn't what I wanted. Like, I think for me, I wanted this champagne taste on a beer budget, on a water budget. That's what I wanted on a beer budget. But in my mind, I feel like I got sparkling. I spent sparkling wine money for sure. I definitely spent Prosecco money on this champagne. It was Prosecco. It is Prosecco. So don't come and play with me. It definitely was Prosecco money. Okay. And certain things are going to be expensive regardless. I mean, I actually, I end up spending a pretty penny on my dress. But before I decided on that dress, I had ordered 2 dresses off of Fashion Nova. One I wore for in my engagement pictures. The other one I didn't wear at all. But I plan on wearing it. I don't care. I'll wear a white dress somewhere. And those dresses were like $50 a piece. They were beautiful dresses. Actually, I think, like, in my mind, like the look that people are used to seeing me in, those dresses fit that way better than what my wedding dress fits, or fits that image. But I love my wedding dress. It was beautiful. It's something completely different and unexpected from what people are used to seeing me in. So to me, that was a vision I wanted, something I was like, okay, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do that. It wasn't something I expected going in and getting, but that's what it was. But I paid a pretty penny for it. Am I ever gonna wear my wedding dress again? No, unless I get married again, and I ain't doing that again because I'm in this forever. So yeah, it became expensive. The tuxedo, the kids' tuxedos, the florals, my mother's dresses. You know, both our mothers are elderly, and you know they don't have a lot of money, so we had to buy their dresses, and just that it gets adds up. I DIY everything for my wedding, all of the decor. I had a coworker, shout out to Jade Circle Creations, and out here in Northwest Arkansas, she did some work for me for free. Like we co-workers, she was like, "This is a wedding gift," so she did some acrylic work for me. Um, that's beautiful, you know. But I came up with the design. I used Canva. I designed that. I designed my welcome sign. I designed a welcome mirror. All of those things adds up. And I think one of the big things that my fiance didn't realize is that no matter what, I'm cutting corners. Believe me, the corners are being cut. Because like I said, I did fake florals. So they're still flowers. They came from Amazon. But you still have to buy hundreds and hundreds of them. I probably bought 500 hydrangeas. I bought a couple hundred roses. I bought, so all those things add up when it comes down to it. I probably spent over $1,000, probably close to $2,000 just on decor. And mind y'all, I only got 6 tables. I only got 6. So when I tell you it's expensive, don't let people tell you you could do your wedding, you know, super cheap. You could do something cheap. You can definitely do a ceremony and get married. It's easy. But if you want a wedding, you got to pay for the venue. I don't know no. What y'all think I'll get a venue? I guess if you have somebody that can let you use their house, and shout out to my sister friend Gabe, we're using her house for the after party, engagement party. So believe me, I've cut corners, but I didn't want to get married at her house. I wanted to have the engagement party at her house. I wanted to get married in a venue that I wanted to get married in. So yes, you can do it if you have those other people or help when it comes to that. But as far as like the dress, the tux, the photographer, the videographer, like I said, the memories are important for me. Like that is part of what I wanted to get married for, is to document it. It's not what I wanted to get married for. Sorry, I want to get married because I love my man. I want to be his wife. But the reason I wanted to have a wedding is for the memories, to document those memories. And I think that you got to realize off rip, I got a discount on videography. I got a discount on photography. They was both $1,000. That's $2,000 right there. That's $2,000 right there. Now, mind you, I'm getting married in New Orleans, and I also didn't want a terrible photographer. I didn't really see any photographers under $1,000, but I'm sure they exist. But you get what you pay for. And I also felt like I paid a nice, pretty penny for my engagement shoot, $300. I could have, if I was in New Orleans, I would have been able to pay $300 for the engagement shoot. And my photographer was subpar, you know, to say the least. So some pictures came out beautiful. I think the biggest issue was his editing. So I'm not going to mention him in my video, but I think it was subpar. It was what I paid for. But it was the same price as everybody else. That's just what it is. I should have did better detailing or looking or searching in that sense to find a photographer I felt like met my vision or could meet my vision as far as the touch-ups and editing goes. So like I said, we've you know, we have done a lot. I paid a lot for sure for the wedding, and I'm gonna say it was unexpected because, like I said, I didn't know the price tag for most of these things. So when I was creating a budget, it was just me guessing, like, okay, well, I could get it done for $10,000. Boom, it's only 30 people. But I didn't know the expense of a lot of these things. Like I said, the videographer, the photographer, that is more expensive than I thought. Because I've never had to get a videographer or anything like that for an event. Um, so there are ways we're cutting corners. We're not having a DJ at the wedding. We have created a Spotify list for the coordinator to play. So we will, work from there. We are going to, be to the point where we are trying to get the best results from what we were afforded to, do. But I just think that, the idea that you could have a wedding and it not cost you a lot is something that I was listening to a lot from people and videos and stuff like that. And I'm just like, how? Like, how did y'all plan to do it? And mind you, I've been to Dollar Tree. I've been to Hobby Lobby. I've been to Michael's. I've gone to all the places. I've been to thrift store. They got an Amazon return center. I have purchased things from that are cheap. It's just those things add up when you have a certain vision that you want to pull off. And I think that is something that I want to keep it real with anybody who's following me. And I'm creating this video so that I can give this to brides. 2025 brides, please, 2025 and on brides, please understand that there's costs associated with having a wedding, and it's never going to be super cheap. Because like I said, to me, cheap is under $1,000. That's cheap. That ain't gonna happen. That's just not. You might could pull off an elopement with 5-10 people for under $1,000. I was trying to do a brunch, like just a wedding brunch, like get married in a park, have a wedding brunch. That still was looking like $5,000. That was looking like $5,000 just for 30 people. So it just was like, well, if I'm gonna do that, I might as well have something nice. I'm gonna put $5,000 into it. I might as well do something different. Would I go back and change it and save my money, my coins? I'll tell y'all after Saturday. I will tell y'all after Saturday if I want to go back and say, look, I should have spent that $5,000, had me a nice restaurant brunch. But the restaurant I was thinking about getting married outside in New Orleans in August. Yeah, I had changed my mind because I was like, you sweat. Like, I am not a girl that don't sweat. I sweat. So my hair was going to be a mess. My makeup was going to be pouring off. I don't want them type of pictures. So that's why I was like, you know what? Don't worry about it. I'm just going to pass on that idea. And I'm going to do me. But I still would have to create centerpieces. I still would have wanted an aisle runner. I still would have wanted decor, arch, the things that I had to pay for anyway. I would have had to do it with the brunch too. So the videographer, the photographer, those things I would have had to do regardless, even if I got married and did a reception at a restaurant or then did the wedding outside. Those things are things I wanted. So I would have had to pay those expenses anyway. I could have easily used the venue I have right now and just used that venue and got the food, didn't decorate. It's a nice venue, but to me, it don't look like a wedding. It looks like a nice venue. So what I wanted to add to this thing, to the vision, that was costly. And I think that when people tell you you can do that for cheap, I think they're misleading you. I really do. And so I want to be honest with people. Don't let them lie to you, because it's not cheap. It's not cheap to pull off a wedding. It is not expensive to get married. It is not expensive to go to courthouse. It is not expensive to have maybe an elopement, a small elopement. But decorations off top gonna cost you some money. And that's me doing it myself. Because one, Dollar Tree don't have a lot of flowers, like a lot of versions of the flowers. Hobby Lobby flowers are expensive. You might as well buy the real ones. You can buy wholesale real flowers cheaper than you can buy flowers from Hobby Lobby. And those look really good. Like the ones from Hobby Lobby, the ones from Michael's, you got some really nice flowers. But you getting one stem for $7.99. And when you got 40% off, that's what? $5 something for one stem. For a hydrangea. You can get hydrangeas from Sam's for cheaper than that for one stem. You get hydrangeas from Tropical Flowers. I will tell y'all how I like them because I will get my flowers on Thursday. Would you get flowers from them? You get flowers from Sam's. Sam's have really nice flowers. You get flowers. I haven't seen Costco's, but you get flowers from Costco. But you have to realize that the expense of the wedding is going to be the decor. If you have a small wedding, like the food not that expensive. I think I spent like $500 on food. But a bar, you got to spend a couple $100s on the bar. You know, those things are going to be an expense too. So, yeah. Full transparency, guys, about the expense of a wedding. This is a wedding I'm getting married in New Orleans. So let me put that caveat in there because like I'm saying, I think the shit is expensive. It is in New Orleans. You might could do this in other places. I don't think major cities, but New Orleans was always like one of the top most expensive places to get married. So I've seen people be like, "Oh, my venue costs $1,000." And it came with a coordinator, and it came with a bartender and a serving staff. They're not gonna happen. That's not going to happen in New Orleans. It's not. I don't think it's gonna happen in Northwest Arkansas either. But it's definitely not gonna happen in New Orleans. $1,000, $1,500. Even a small venue. For my baby shower, I spent more than $1,000, like, for the venue. So, and it didn't come with nothing. So, it was the tables and the chairs. That's it. So, that let me make sure that caveat is there. I am getting married in New Orleans, one of the most sought after wedding destinations in the country. So, yeah, that's a big deal. So I should have put that at the beginning of my video. It's a big deal that I'm getting married in New Orleans because that is what makes it more expensive. And your vendors in New Orleans understand that New Orleans is one of the most sought after wedding destinations in the country. So they price their things like that. And the idea of not getting married in New Orleans was just not even out. It was out the window. I mean, me and my fiance are both born and raised in New Orleans. Our families are in New Orleans. Our friends are in New Orleans. We live in Northwest Arkansas. We've only been here a year and a half. We know a few people, but that is not the people, although the people we would need at our wedding will have to travel almost 10 hours. And I know my family, they ain't traveling. They barely want to travel uptown and downtown. So they're not traveling. His family wouldn't travel. Our mothers don't drive like that. So they wouldn't be able to come or they would have to get somebody to bring them or fly or whatever. And my mom don't even like flying. So it would have just not been what we wanted if we didn't get married in New Orleans. I mean, I guess we could have got married like in Baton Rouge, but we also not from Baton Rouge. We from New Orleans, so we wanted to get married at home. And that probably doubled it. That probably doubled at least the venue and the vendors. That probably doubled it. I can't even front. That probably doubled it. But everything else was still expensive. Like a cake, we went a bagway route to the cake, and it's gonna look pretty. The groom's cake bagway backside. No, I'm lying. The groom's cake come from a regular baker. We did a tasting. We did all that. But like the cake we was looking at was gonna cost me $600 plus $125 to delivery. But we found a girl who does beautiful cakes. A local vendor, Be So Chic Bakery. Beautiful work. So we using her, and it's a third, 2/3 the price. And the cake's still expensive. Like when you think about it, you really just eating cake. I don't even like cake that much. So, but I want it to look pretty. Like everybody's like, you go to Sam's and get cake. Sam's cakes are delicious. Honestly, Sam has a delicious cake. But that's not what I wanted. And if you want to get what you want, you got to pay for what you want. And you have to understand that there are back ways. But even a Sam's cake, if you do a Sam cake, you still gonna spend almost $100 if you're doing a tier cake. So it's just not cheap. Like, at the end of the day, it's not cheap. So if you want to have an inexpensive ceremony, I think you should do an elopement. I think that makes sense. If you want to have a ceremony at the courthouse, do that. I think that is a beautiful way to have your wedding. It's just not what I wanted. And I still think I still had, and I just want to make that clear, that my expectation from seeing all these videos was that I can have what I want in a wedding and I cannot pay a lot of money. And that's what I'm trying to get across to you guys. That's not true. To have what you want, you know, for your wedding, to put your vision forward, you know, as the TikTokers, and if you want an Instagram and TikTokable wedding, you're going to pay a pretty penny. You might not spend more than 10, depending on the amount of people you have, but you're going to spend. You're going to spend, especially if you're in New Orleans, I think, or in major cities. Just to get a venue going to cost you over $200 to $500 for a small venue. It's going to cost you over that. And depending, I mean, the day you get married, you might get married on a Thursday or something like that. It might be a little cheaper, but it's not going to be cheap. It ain't going to be $500. I just don't see it. I just don't see it. I'm just being honest. And when people, and I'm not saying people that did it cheap or less than that, their weddings aren't beautiful. I'm sure their weddings were beautiful for the vision they wanted, you know. And I think if it came out the way you wanted it to come out, that's all that matters. I know for the vision I had, and like that's the quality of the artificial flowers I wanted. You know, I ordered them off of Amazon. I didn't even get the quality I wanted. I would have loved all them Hobby Lobby flowers. I'd have loved all them micro flowers. They felt good. It was beautiful, but I wasn't paying $7.99 a flower, because I used about 400-500 hydrangeas, just for 400-500 hydrangeas, just off top, for 4 centerpieces and 4 outrunners. Like, I have a few other little things, but like multiply 500 times $7.99 or $5. You know what I'm saying? That's $2,500 in flowers. That's $2,500 just in hydrangeas. You have other flowers that you're gonna use, and that's just what it is. And I don't think my decor is extravagant. It's not super extravagant. I think it's nice, but it's not super extravagant, but it's expensive because things are expensive. And so I went a cheaper route by getting flowers off of Amazon and AliExpress and Shein. I did not like the Shein flowers. I thought they were way cheaper feeling than the ones I got off of Amazon and AliExpress. And some of them just look like plastic, and I just did not like them, but I used them because I bought them. I stuck them in there some way. They just had to get used. But I didn't like them. So that was just my opinion. I see some people's stuff, they like, oh, I got these off of Shein, and they look beautiful. And they look beautiful on the videos. And but that's just not how it looked when I got them, and I didn't like that. So that was on me. Like I said, it was things that I wanted to do that made it more expensive. But I don't think anybody can really say it's cheap, or it's gonna cost you. So if you're not willing to come all, maybe a stack, a rack, whatever 10,000 is, just let that go. Don't move on. Like, and that's fine. That is perfectly fine to not spend that type of money. I've been to weddings that weren't that much money, and they were beautiful. Beautiful weddings, and people still married too. That's all that matters. They still married. I've been to weddings that the wedding was fire, and they is not married no more. So the wedding is just a party. The wedding is just a celebration, and it's not necessary at all. One, it's not necessary at all. But it was something I wanted to have, so I needed to spend on it. But it's just a vision that I wanted. And I think that a lot of the visions that I see that people are saying, oh, this was inexpensive, how to have a cheap wedding, how to have a cheap, modern, beautiful wedding. And I'll be like, how y'all did it? Because I went to Dollar Tree. I did. I didn't like a lot of the Dollar Tree flowers, but I used them. I pretty much bought all the white flowers I could. I used them in something. So, but I don't see how y'all did it like cheap like that. And I feel like I needed somebody like me to tell me the real. And that the real is, it ain't cheap. It ain't like, but I think the average spend on a wedding nowadays is like $30,000. So coming in half of that, it's cheap, I guess. And to some people, that's cheap. That's not cheap to me. $15,000 ain't never cheap. That's expensive. And I think people need to realize that that's expensive. That's expensive. $15,000 is like at least like 7 months of mortgage, 6, 7 months of a mortgage. Like, that's expensive. $15,000 is like half a car. So like, I think that when people say cheap, and cheap is relative. Cheap is relative to me, and I guess to people. But under $1,000 is cheap in my head. Even 5,000 for a wedding, an actual wedding ceremony, reception, celebration, it would be cheap, I think. But I think most people not paying that. Not in this economy, not in Trump's Comerica. Like my son calls it Comerica. So I say, yep, this Trump's Comerica. Not in Trump's Comerica. No, it's not. It's not. Things have not been as cheap since COVID. Like, and even before that, it wasn't cheap. It was just cheaper. So I think that we have to realize that, and also in the economy we live in. And a lot of the stuff you ordering from China, that stuff is going up. You order from Amazon, that stuff is going up. You get from Walmart, that stuff is going up because of tariffs, So I did try to get a lot of the stuff before like those extra tariffs kicked in. But it was what it was at this point. There were things that were delayed because of the new tariffs. I didn't get things for a month. So I actually like invested and stopped ordering from China. I ordered like things that were on Prime that I could get in 2 days. Etsy, there were people that were local, like in America, because I was terrified. Because just some Shein stuff took over a month for me. So I was just like, yeah, not gonna be able to do that. Not gonna be able to do it. So, I mean, all this is to say, your vision is gonna be your vision, but don't let people lie to you. The shit is expensive. It is. And that's just keeping it 100. That's keeping it real. That's keeping it 1,000. It is expensive. And don't talk about like beauty. I'm going to my normal hairdresser in New Orleans. I'm going to a makeup artist that I've seen. So that's expensive, just what it's going to be, what it is. But if you asking people to like come and do your face at where you will be, they only want to come if it's 5 or 6 more people. You know what I'm saying? And the minimum, girl told me minimum was $1,200 for the travel. And that would cover me and 2 or 3 other people. I said, that math right there, that's $300 a face. No. The answer is just no. No, thank you. No, thank you. No, thank you. Don't do it. That's what it is.